What do I think of fruitarianism, or the 80-10-10 diet? That's what I'm going to answer in today's episode of Ask Yuri.
Ask Yuri. You've got a health and fitness question? I've got an answer.
All right, guys, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. I've got my kids playing upstairs, so if you hear some rumbling around, that's going to be them, going crazy upstairs. But anyways, I've been asked this question so many times, and I don't know if I've actually answered this in video format yet. And so a lot of our eating friendly clients have asked me this, and a lot of other people in general have asked me this about what is my opinion of the 80-10-10 diet. 80-10-10 is essentially 80% fruit, 10% or 80% carbs in the form of fruit predominantly, 10% fat, 10% protein. So essentially it's a very high fruit diet. Now, I've discussed this in very specific detail in Module 2 of Super Nutrition Academy, where I discuss deficiencies in protein that may occur by following this type of diet. And my answer to all these questions about this 80-10-10 thing is always the same. I'm not a fan of it. I personally don't practice 80-10-10. I know people do, and it works for them, and that's great. I'm not here to say you shouldn't do it or you should do it. I'm just saying, based on my experience of trying it and seeing what other people have done with it, I don't necessarily know that it makes a lot of sense for most human beings to be following that type of diet. Now, let's just think about some of the proponents of 80-10-10 talk about, it's fruit is not the issue, it's the fats that prevents or kind of encapsulates the sugars so insulin can't get to it or something along those lines, which kind of makes things all wacky. And that might be true. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't know. But again, I don't claim to have all the answers. When it comes to this stuff, here's my opinion. If you're eating 80% fruit, and I show this in Module 2 in the Academy, if you have 30 bananas a day, like there are some people out there who eat 30 bananas a day, I'm not going to name any names, you are severely limiting your protein intake to about 30 grams of protein at most, okay? And even on the conservative side of how much protein we need, being about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, at that amount, you're getting about half the amount of protein you need on a daily basis. So if you do that over time, deficiencies may occur. Now, not only is that's not the main issue. The main issue is like, when in the history of the planet have human beings only been eating fruits? And a lot of people might say, well, it's the natural way human beings are supposed to eat. Well, I disagree with that. If you look at our digestive system, if you look at our teeth, we are omnivores. We are meant to eat meat and plants, okay? And when you look at culturally, let's say you're from Scandinavia. I mean, do you have fresh mangoes and pineapple growing in your backyard? Do you have bananas growing there? No, you don't, right? So your cultural need biologically is very different than what it would be if you grew up in the tropics, right? If you grew up in Costa Rica and your family heritage is from there, sure, you might do better with more of a fruit-based diet. But to take that and then say that all human beings all around the world should be following a high fruit diet is irresponsible. There is no single diet that works for everyone. I don't know. I mean, guys, this is not rocket science, and it's unfortunate that some people are so dogmatic that they fail to think about this stuff, okay? If you're from sub-Saharan Africa and you're from Scandinavia, your dietary needs are going to be very different, right? What you're going to respond to is going to be very different. Okay? If you're from Siberia, or Eastern Europe, where most of the foods are pickled to be conserved in the winter months, well then a high fruit diet is not going to be appropriate for you, most likely. The best way to really understand this is to experiment on yourself. That's all you can do, right? Experiment with this stuff, see how it works for you. If you feel great, if your blood tests come back, if all these different tests come back and they're all good, and you feel and look healthier than ever, then by all means, go for it. But if you're thinking about a high fruit diet just because some people have said that it's the way to go and humans are meant to eat fruit only, I really encourage you to do a little bit more research and to be properly informed about this kind of stuff, okay? So my personal approach, again, to nutrition is about eating more raw foods, not about becoming a raw foodist, but eating more raw foods. And with that, that's the foundation, eating more plants and vegetables in the raw state. And then above and beyond that is finding those different elements that you need to add into your diet, whether that be meat, whether that be non-glutinous grains, that's up to you, right? But me personally, I operate best on a plant-based diet, predominantly, most of it being raw. Now, I know that doesn't work for everyone, but I'm just giving you my 2 cents. So hopefully that helps out with the 80-10-10 question. I know a lot of people have been wondering this. There's my expert opinion. Again, by no means is it dogma, but you need to be informed about this kind of stuff, and that's what I'm here to provide for you. Once again, if you guys have any other questions, you can join me on Facebook. My URL is below. Like the page, ask your question on the Facebook wall, and I'll do my very best to create a video just for you in the future.